Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty special. We are framing a direct, intimate conversation from a father to a maturing son. So if you're a young guy, say 13 and up, and you're trying to navigate that often confusing journey into adulthood, this one is absolutely for you. We're breaking down a literal guidebook on manhood. We're pulling out raw, fatherly wisdom on how to handle yourself socially, educationally, and personally. We're talking about how to build a lasting legacy right from the ground up.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at the daily habits, defining your core values, navigating friends and family, dating and legacy, avoiding the ultimate pitfalls, and finally, a weekly character development checklist.
All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the daily habits.
We're starting right at the foundation, your personal discipline. Because honestly, the little choices you make every single morning absolutely dictate the man you're going to become. Manhood isn't just a destination you magically arrive at one day, it is a daily growth process. Treat your body like a machine that requires optimal operating conditions. Training daily, whether that means boxing, kayaking, or just hitting the gym, builds a physical toughness that translates directly into a mental health defense. When you're under pressure or feeling stressed, pushing back physically literally helps you push back mentally against all of life's challenges. To actually make this stick, you've got to implement what the source calls the ATOD system, or auto imperative things of the day. These are your absolute non-negotiables. Before the world starts demanding your attention, you need to prioritize your workload and yourself. So dedicate time to prayer or meditation. Eat a solid, healthy breakfast. Get your exercise in and review your schedule. Doing this just sets an incredible baseline of control over your entire day. And speaking of building a baseline, there's just massive power in this one simple daily action: reading at least one page or one chapter every single day. Look, ignorance is way more expensive than an education. Read incessantly, build your intelligence, learn from incredibly smart people, and get over the fear of being in rooms where others might be smarter than you, because that is exactly how you gain a distinct advantage in life.
Moving right along to section 2, defining your core values.
Life's going to get complicated, and when it does, your values act as your compass through the most difficult decision-making moments. First and foremost, you need to have the absolute courage to apologize. Let me say that again because it's a game changer. Have the courage to apologize. Acknowledging your faults and your failures makes the problem temporary, but living in denial and trying to hide those mistakes, that lasts forever. Being honest with yourself and open with your confession is a massive step toward true maturity. So the big takeaway here is to constantly measure yourself against common social pitfalls. You've got to actively step away from ego-driven confrontations. Your manhood is measured by your capacity to make better decisions, not by how fast you can get into a physical fight over something totally petty. The higher man values peace and honest business, completely avoiding the traps of synthetic happiness and toxic squabbles. Leave the petty arguments to petty people. Just use the nearest exit and protect your peace.
Okay, let's jump into section 3, navigating friends and family.
As you grow up, you absolutely have to become super selective about your social circle and how you deal with your relatives. This is where so many young men lose their way. They confuse true loyalty with toxic codependency. You need to look for clear signs of reliable friends. I'm talking about the guys who push you to get better, encourage your growth, and actually share your core values. On the flip side, strictly avoid those toxic social habits. Do not hang out with guys who celebrate lewdness, who lack basic etiquette, or who are just completely unreliable. If someone continually offends or betrays you, take that betrayal as a bright red exit sign above the door. And you know what? This applies to family too. As you build your life, your main job is to protect your resources and income for your core family. You can absolutely support your extended family with genuine, emotional love and prayer, but not with continuous financial bailouts. You are not required to be a hero or a savior for someone else's bad choices. Set firm emotional boundaries so you don't become a casualty of their dysfunction. Next up is section 4, dating, marriage, and legacy. It's kind of crazy to think about, but your long-term legacy depends hugely on the relational choices you're making right now, and surprisingly, how you treat your own body today. When you're dating, you should be looking for longevity and real compatibility. Seek a whole life commitment. Here is a highly practical tip. Pay close attention to their spending habits and their debt ratio. Financial issues and crazy spending compulsions can easily wreck a marriage. You want to make sure your core values align and that you can openly talk about your feelings so you aren't internalizing a bunch of anger. And never ever forget this.
Your daily habits, your nutrition, and especially the substances you choose to put in your body today, they directly impact the genetic legacy and the welfare of a family you haven't even built yet. The source material is very clear that indiscretions with drugs or alcohol can cause real, permanent damage to your reproductive system. That can potentially lead to birth defects or learning disabilities in your future kids. So respect your body right now to protect them later.
Which brings us to Section 5, avoiding the ultimate pitfalls.
Now, we really need to talk about a serious, stern warning from the Guidebook. We're talking about avoiding those devastating legal and social traps that literally ruin young men's lives. Do not hang out with the wrong crowd, and do not participate in any illegal activity. The advice here is brutal but true. Criminals see everyone around them as either an accomplice or a victim. And if you start out as an accomplice, trust me, you will eventually become a victim. When you put yourself around people committing crimes, you risk losing your freedom entirely and destroying everything you're trying to build. You've really got to understand the reality of the streets. That whole idea that snitches get stitches, yeah, that's a total contradiction in the real world. The second your so-called friends get caught, they will instantly transform into informants, paid tipsters, or jailhouse snitches. People will say and do absolutely anything to go free, and your co-conspirators will 100% try to pin the blame on you just to save their own skin. If you ever, and I mean ever, find yourself facing legal trouble or sitting across from criminal investigators, you have to follow these 2 steps like your life depends on it. First, secure an attorney immediately. Second, invoke your privilege to remain completely silent. A criminal investigator's literal job is to get a confession out of you. Let your lawyer do the talking. You remain silent.
Finally, Section 6, Weekly Character Development Checklist.
Let's bring all this amazing fatherly advice together into an actionable weekly checklist. This is how you take all this theory and actually use it to build the man you're becoming. Use the structure for your week. Start with something super simple, like cleaning your room and your car every day. This removes physical clutter, which protects your mental peace and gives you a quiet retreat. Stick to your ATO routine for fitness and food. Check your finances weekly to make sure you're protecting those resources, and review your relationships so you can keep firm boundaries with any toxic influences. Doing these simple things sets a massive, powerful example for any younger siblings or relatives watching you. At the end of the day, it's all about taking the initiative to act on your intelligence. You've got to pursue your education, learn from the incredibly smart people around you, and step confidently into leadership roles. Lead with your intellect and your character, not your ego. So, I want to leave you with this final, really provocative thought to chew on today. If your future son looked at the habits, the friends, and the exact choices you made today, would he respect the man you are becoming? Think about that. Every single small decision you make right now is actively building the legacy of the man you will be tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep building that legacy.